Now we are going to thumbnail and sketch our comic. The worksheet I've made has 3 little boxes and a space underneath to write the line so you can refer to it. Thumbnailing is a technique used to get lots of different ideas and variations drawn up quickly. We can use it to decide the best ways of composing each panel of our comic. My first panel has Bubble Girl walking down a path, so I'm going to draw 3 different versions of how this could look. You can draw more than 3 options if you have lots of ideas. Remember, these are going to be very rough drawings. You do not need to spend very long on each one. Look how sketchy and rough my drawings are. We aren't worried about the details here. It's all about deciding where things are going to go. Use blocky shapes and stick figures to work out where you're going to put everything. If you find yourself taking a long time over each drawing, use a 30-second timer to make sure you only spend a short amount of time on each one. I'm going to do the same thing with each line of my comic. For each one, I'll draw 3 different versions of how the scene could look. You will need more than one sheet of paper. Remember to leave white space in each panel for any text or speech bubbles. I'm going to do a whole lesson on the speech bubbles later, so we want to make sure we have room. You can draw rough circles where you'd like them to be, but don't worry about adding any detail to this for now. Once I've done 3 different drawings for each of my panels, I'm going to look through them and decide which ones work the best. Here I'm circling my favourites, the ones I think will look the most interesting in the final comic. Think about how they all flow together to make the story. We have our character design, our script, and our thumbnails, so it's time to bring them all together and sketch out our comic. I'm using the comic template I've made, but if you don't have a printer, you'll want to draw 6 boxes on your piece of paper. Try and make them all the same size if you can. I'm using my thumbnails to refer back to as I sketch. This time I'm adding more detail to the drawing. Here, I'm using my hand as a reference to draw the hand in the comic. Drawing from life is great and can really help you if you want to practice your anatomy. Usually when I draw, I do several different rounds of sketches, each one more detailed than the last. But here I'm just going to do one. Sketch out every panel. If you notice that something doesn't work, you can make changes now. We want to be happy with our drawing before we ink it. I've made a few tweaks and I think I'm ready to go. Keep this page safe for our next lesson on inking.